Hey guys, what's crack-a-lackin'? It's Aditi here, your women's leadership coach and marketing strategist. So we're talking about my weight loss journey. And, I started the 131 method, which is run by Chalene Johnson, over again about a week ago, and I decided to share my journey and my progress because a lot of people have been asking about how I lost the first 48 pounds so far. And, I'm really kind of kicking that health even more back into gear because, the last 6 weeks I've been kind of veering off a little bit of my normal eating plan. And I just wanted to challenge myself and really just take it to that next level. And I even started a health accountability group with anyone who joins the 131 method with my affiliate link. So if that's something that you wanted to be a part of, definitely I'll put the link in the comments if you want to join us. And so we started with week 1 last week. And so how she has done it, and Chalene's, what I love about her is if there's anything that she finds that is not really reflective of, the research, or if the research she found was flawed or something was messed up, she is not afraid to come back and correct what she was saying. So I love that. And she's somebody who, as a fitness celebrity expert, really was kind of pushing whatever new fad was kind of the facts that were coming out there in the past. But now she realized a lot of those research studies were done with backed up by a food company that had a financial interest in promoting a certain study that was a self-serving study just so they could make more sales. So she's really gone back to do a lot more research with real studies, real researchers, and people who don't have necessarily a financial interest, but are genuinely trying to understand, more about the body and how it can heal itself and all of this stuff and how we can use food as medicine, And that's what I really resonated with when I joined this program is, using food as medicine to really heal from the inside out. I really resonate with that. You guys know I'm all about healing. And so that's kind of what got me to join it. And I joined it basically on January 1st. It just happened to be, I don't even know if it was supposed to be like a New Year's goal thing, but that just happened to be the next round that she was offering. So I jumped on it. And I think that first month, initially I lost like 17 pounds, but I gained some of it back because we did do some intermittent fasting. So in that, you gain back the water weight. So I think maybe I lost 12 or 13 pounds that first month. And it's really powerful because what happens is you are really removing inflammatory foods out of your diet initially. So how her program is built is it's in 3 phases. So there's an ignite phase, a nourish phase, and a renew phase. And the whole point is to really cleanse out your body and get it moving in the way that it's meant to. And so your organs are operating efficiently and strong and all of that stuff. And one of the main things that her objective is to move your body from being a sugar burner to a fat burner. And there's specific methods and foods and strategies that she teaches inside of the 131 method that help you do that. And one of them, and there's many, but just one of them is by removing inflammatory foods. Now, she doesn't say you're going to be removing them forever, but in general, she has recommended that you remove the inflammatory foods from your body because essentially anything that is inflammatory, basically, you're attacking your body itself with, because your body considers anything that's processed and not like a natural whole food from the earth to be processed, and they consider it a foreign object. So your body ends up attacking itself, and it ends up getting inflamed. And she said the inflammation is actually there to protect you because your body's like, oh my God, there is a foreign object here, so we have to protect ourselves. So I don't remember all the details and all of the stuff, but I'll just give you guys an overview of, because I'm learning as well as I'm going along with the program. And it was, when your tissues are inflamed, your cells are inflamed, it just gets bigger and it holds more water, and your body doesn't act as efficiently as it could. And over time, you can build chronic inflammation from absorbing and eating these processed foods for many, many years. And the thing is, it happens very subtly and slowly in the background. So many times people don't know why they're having the symptoms that they're having. And it's not that easy detectable in the medical industry as well. So you can't always tell until later when it turns into a disease or something. So chronic inflammation can really turn into a lot of autoimmune diseases and all these other things that she shares in the course. Again, I'm just sharing what I've learned. If you really wanted to get full depth and detail, you want to be a part of the course. So I'm just kind of communicating what I have learned in it. Okay, so 131 method. And again, I have an affiliate link if you want to join the health accountability group that I'm doing. So so the main point of this is so that your body isn't just burning sugar, meaning whatever foods you eat at that moment, but it's actually burning the stored fat that's already in your body. So, I mean, like my arm, right? Like, has fat in it. So this fat, in order for my body to want to eat, it's like I want my body to eat my own fat, essentially. And by doing that, there's certain methods to help get your body into that fat burning state. Okay. So that's really what's been the goal of this. And for that first week, these first 3 weeks for the Ignite phase, the guidance is to remove inflammatory foods. Now, what I love about her program is she says to really adopt it for yourself and see what works for you, because everybody is different. And I love that, because it's not like a one plan fits all kind of thing. There's general guidelines of the general information, but I think that's great. So for me, my personal goal, because she says, have your own personal stuff. My personal goal was to cut out bread and sugar, bread and soda, because soda's kind of creeped back into my diet, and I just love myself a Coke and Dr. Pepper. But I also know how harmful it can be. So I really wanted to kind of bring my health back into balance, because I've kind of been on and off a little bit, and it's been making me feel a little funky. I have been feeling bloated, a little bit of heaviness. And I haven't really gained too much weight back, because I've been still pretty much eating pretty clean, but I've just been eating, because I eat mostly a vegan style diet, and I do eat some seafood sometimes if my body is craving it, because I'm really learning how to do intuitive eating. Okay, so I want to share how my experience went, because I know there's so many times people want to, move to a more healthier lifestyle, but it's just so hard to transition into it or to just start, and I really am doing this with a whole nother perspective this time. I really want to break that dieter's mentality and that kind of stuff. So I'm really practicing a lot of self-awareness. So when I first started, I could already see, it was 3 days until we were really getting into it. And I was like, man, in 3 days, I'm going to be cutting out inflammatory food. So let me eat what I want now. And I noticed it. I was like, Didi, this sounds like a dieter's mentality. You know what I mean? And I was like, yeah, it really does. So I really started to kind of pay attention to what was coming up and kind of shifting those words in my mind, because I realized a lot of this is really a mental game more than anything. So, I started that Monday, and let me tell you guys, last week was absolute hell, okay? I was dying. Those first 2 days, all I wanted to do was eat all the bread everywhere, and I friggin' love bread. I wanted to eat sandwiches all day and all that kind of stuff. And I know from what I've learned is that bread turns into sugar, and eventually it'll turn into stored fat in my body, and then the chronic inflammation, all that kind of stuff. Again, that's not exactly the process of how it works, because I'm not getting into the whole thing, but it's explained in the 131 method. So basically, the first 2 days, all I could think about was all the bread I wanted to eat. You know how you have a vision of the with like the clouds. That was me with bread in the middle. I wanted to eat all the sandwiches. And, I found these like vegan sandwich shops who have this like amazing vegan sandwich options. And I was like, man, this is stupid. I can't even try this. I'm like road tripping in Arizona and I want to try it. I was being all grumpy puss. And so basically, I was like, I'll try it next week, maybe, you know what I mean? I was just like, trying to work through all my emotions, but all I wanted to think about was what I was eating and what was happening, and it was horrible. The next 2 days was more of an emotional component that came up. All these. So what happens when you're eating really clean, as I've learned and I've read about too, and I've felt myself, is when you're eating clean, you feel your emotions a lot more. So they kind of intensify. Okay, so let's say something bothered you at work, right? And you're eating what you normally would be eating, maybe the SAD diet, which is the standard American diet, right? So you just move on with your day, you eat your food, whatever. Maybe you eat some bread, you eat some cheese. These things numb your emotions, okay? So, dairy literally clogs your intuition. I mean, it's kind of insane the type of ways these foods affect our bodies. So, my emotions were very heightened. And I also started a 40-day Ganesha mantra discipline, where I'm chanting Ganesh mantra. Ganesh is a divine force who helps remove obstacles. So I decided to join this group that my healer is running, and I thought it would be really powerful. And it has been powerful because it has been bringing those obstacles up to the surface to be released, but it's also been kind of difficult. So those next 2 days, it was like all the emotions were exploding. I mean, I was mourning, I was crying, I was grieving. Everything was coming up. My childhood was coming up, when I was made fun of, when I was bullied. I was just like, oh my gosh, where's all this stuff coming from? Like, it was just exploding in my face. I'm like driving from I'm driving from Phoenix, Arizona to Tucson, Arizona last week. I have a coach and a friend who invited me, and I came to go check out the area. And like, I'm driving and I just get so emotional. I'm just crying and I'm just like, what the hell is going on? But I already know that repressed emotion keeps your weight on and turns into fat over time. Now, this may sound really radical and crazy if this is the first time you've ever heard this, but there's a lot of work out there that shows this. There's documentaries, all of that. So I'm just the messenger. If you want to check it out, you can check it out. I can send you the link to the documentary that I'm talking about. I think it's called E-Motion, and it's at Gaia, GAIA, that online video platform with like amazing spiritual videos. And anyway, so it was a documentary in there which talked about how repressed emotions turn into fat in the body, because that energy eventually becomes substance. So basically, those next 2 days, I just honored it. I was like, okay, clearly something is coming up. I'm releasing something. And I let myself cry. I let myself just feel that hurt, feel that pain that I didn't process when I was probably 8 years old. And I saw that 8-year-old girl who was so scared, who was so worried about, just confused about life and what is this world that I'm in? Like, what is this? And who are these people and what's going on? And why are people acting like this? And, this is hurtful, or maybe someone said something mean to me. So it's like all those emotions I never processed. So they all came up to surface. And so I just sat with it. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to talk to this inner child of mine, because I've also learned how powerful inner child work is. And I did that inner child work, and I talked to that 8-year-old version of myself. And I was like, I love you, girl. You got this. And I just held her and I kissed her, and I could just see the sorrow in her eyes. And I'm like, man, is this the deep emotion I was feeling when I was 8 years old? I was like, God damn. Like, how do you know how to deal with that when you're 8? You know what I mean? So it's like, now it's coming up for me to process. So I just loved the shit out of her and told her that I'm here for her now and I'm going to take care of her. And there's nothing that she needs to be afraid of. And I just started bawling more. And it was a very profound moment. And I was like, wow, that was really powerful. And so that next day, I tried on this black dress, and I had posted about it also online, and I talked about how you guys can check out my Instagram account. It's at Aditi Creative. Aditi Creative is my handle, and I have a post about this on my Instagram, how I had this black dress, right? And like basically my armpit fat was kind of bulging out like a week prior. But this time when I tried it on, it was like just smooth. And like, it wasn't bulging out of the dress. And I even wondered, like, did I stretch this dress out? Maybe it wasn't washed. Maybe I already wore it once. But no, it was freshly out of the dryer. And if anything, when you get it out of the dryer, it's smaller, right? So I just noticed this fat was like smaller. And I was just like, oh, what's going on here? So I was like, let me see what the spiritual significance is, because I know every portion of your body has a spiritual significance. So I looked up fat on your arm, armpit, all that kind of stuff. And I found out fat on your arm is anger at being denied love. Voila. And I know that that is an experience and an emotion that I have felt deeply, not feeling loved and approved by family in a certain way that I wanted to be, or didn't feel love from a certain lover, or not feeling loved by a certain friend who I wanted to be closer with, just all of those circumstances, and having that anger, being angry that I'm not getting the love in the way that I want. And it's not a very conscious thing. It's very subconscious. So you may not be so aware of like what it is that's coming up for you. You know what I mean? So I was like, oh my God, like this is really intense. And when I looked it up, it made a lot of sense on why or how that came off in that specific area, because that's exactly where and exactly what I processed, right? Anger at being denied love. And I worked with my inner child on that. And that's exactly where the fat reduced. And I was like, that's insane. That's so cool, because I've learned so much about energy and, how you can heal your body and how everything is related to some sort of root emotional cause that's happening in your life. So the more I've been examining this, the more it's been really showing up, which has been really cool. So anyways, by Friday, so this was day 5, I was completely losing my shit, you guys. Oh my God. I thought day 1 and 2 were going to be the hardest, but by the time I got to day 5, I was completely losing my shit, because I also wasn't able to sleep on certain nights. And Shalene did say that this is something that may happen because your body is kind of like adjusting to what's going on and all that kind of stuff. So I couldn't sleep. So I was really cranky because I had to work. I had so many work obligations and projects I needed to complete and sessions I needed to do and all of that kind of stuff. So it was just a lot going on. So anyways, Friday, I completely lost my shit and I just was so grumpy. And that day I caved into taking Advil. So I don't really prefer taking any sort of medicines usually, unless I just can't handle it anymore and I'm just dying. So at that point I was completely dying and I just gave in. I was like, I need a painkiller. I can't take this pain anymore. I am dying. It's like 5 days now, not eating bread and not eating soda and wanting it and whatever. So I had the Advil and I felt much better. And then something cool happened. Around 1 p.m. that day, I had this like uptick in energy, and all of a sudden I just was like full of energy, and I was like, oh wow, like okay. And I just started working and I just couldn't stop working. I was working. And I found myself working from like 1 p.m. to 10 p.m. that day. I got so much done. I was so productive. Like it was insane. Like I was like, whoa, what's happening? And I was like, am I starting to reap the benefits of reducing the sugar and cutting out bread? Because I have read, and Shalene said, some of the benefits you'll experience is mental clarity, more energy, better moods, like all of this stuff. And I was like, I'm in a great mood. I feel awesome. This is great. You know what I mean? I'm starting to reap the benefits. So that happened. So then day 6 and 7, okay, so 7 days, 6 and 7 were so much easier because now I was in the flow. I knew what I'm eating, what I'm not eating. Okay, cool. I'm not eating bread. I'm over it. I'm not mad, But then an interesting thing started happening. I started being like, damn, girl, you made it 5 days without bread. Maybe you can have some bread today. It's fine. You made it 5 days. Good job. You should give yourself. I was like, hold on. My goal was to hit 7 days. So why am I sitting here convincing myself and listening to this whispered lie that I should go ahead and have some bread? Right? So I was just like, okay, this is a trickster voice and I'm not listening to it, because I was about to give in, because I was like, oh, well, you did a good job, so now you can eat bread. And I was just like, wait, what? This makes no sense. And again, that's like that dieter's mentality. It's like using that food as reward, or like just whatever it is, like, oh, you did good, so now you can like cheat, or now you can mess up, or now get off track. So I noticed that, but I didn't give into it. And you know what I did instead is I chose to get some food that was really tasty to me, that I liked. And when I did that, I was like, okay, if you still have the urge or desire for bread afterwards, then you can check. But first, eat something. But the thing is, once I ate something that I really liked and tasted good, I wasn't hungry anymore, so I didn't want that bread. So then that's how I made it through those last 2 days. And you guys, now it's 7, 8, 9. Now it's day 9. And I feel great. I have so much energy. I feel so much mental clarity. I feel so much lighter. Oh my goodness. Like, I swear, like, eating bread, even though I love it so much, I just hate the bloatedness I feel. And everyone's different. But for me, I feel this heaviness. I feel bloated. I feel lethargic. I feel a little tired. I get that brain fog. But now I'm on day 9 and I feel amazing. And I'm just like, oh, I'm so glad I made it through. You know what I mean? So I'm really turning into my body into a fat burner. Now, there's a lot more details and a lot other things to do as well. I'm not going into the whole details, but what I wanted to focus on was really how to survive your first 7 days when you're shifting your eating lifestyle. So overall, that's an overview of how my week went. And now I have some notes where I wanted to share with you some food swaps that I made to make it easier, and then my top tips to make it through your first 7 days successfully. So overview in general, right? I talked about, I forgot to say I had the worst headache ever. The first 2 days, most horrible headache ever. And then it kind of went in the background, but it was still there for the next 2 days, day 3 and 4. Day 5, my headache was throbbing. Okay. So overall, I felt some crankiness, moodiness, restlessness, heavy headaches. Some days I even felt a little bit of dizziness, some nausea. And, these are all normal things I read, and Shalene shared, your body is detoxing, so you are going to feel funky and all that kind of stuff. I also had lots of emotions come up. I had anger come up. I had some depression come up. I had some sadness come up. So I just really honored whatever was coming up and moved through it. Okay, so here's some of the food swaps I made. So the goal was to remove inflammatory foods, right? To help you move from sugar burner to fat burner. So as I told you, one of my personal goals was to swap out soda. Okay, so instead of soda, it was hard for me to go straight to only water. So what I did was I went from, I would either get water or lemonade or a vegan Thai iced tea. That's something I freaking love. I love Thai iced tea. So it made me feel like I was having a little bit of a treat. Yes, there is sugar in some of these things, so I didn't eliminate sugar completely. Another thing you want to keep in mind is your sanity. So, okay, my foot's like falling asleep, so I have to move it. So you have to consider your sanity. So when you're making a lifestyle shift, like if you can't go cold turkey, then start with smaller shifts. So that's what I did. And this is actually what I did in the beginning of my journey as well. When I lost the 48 pounds, is I really just started where I was, and I didn't try to completely go cold turkey to the point where I was going to die and kill myself. Okay, so I tried to and I was strict, right? Because you do have to be disciplined with yourself up to a certain degree. Otherwise, you will cave into those cravings. So I made my goal to be bread and soda. So that was like what I was really strict about, okay? Just really not having that. So, and then I swapped white rice for brown rice. I think one night I did end up having some pasta. I was at a friend's house and she made it. And, so instead of regular pasta, I would have gluten-free pasta. Okay. So at least it's removing that gluten. Again, I know it is a processed food. So your goal is to remove as many inflammatory foods as possible. Okay. So cookies, chips, all that kind of stuff. I was totally eating that again in these last 6 weeks when I kind of was veering off a little bit. Because, I was like, you know what? I lost 50 pounds. I was going into that space. I was like, I'm going to eat some chips. I don't care. You know what I mean? Completely being transparent about that. That's where I was and that's what I was doing. But now I really wanted to kind of reduce that. So I was like, all right, we're not going to have cookies. We're not going to have chips. So instead of having those as snacks, I started swapping out for peanuts, edamame peas, cherries, dried mangoes. Okay, so that's kind of the swaps that I did. And then I had dark chocolate. I had dark chocolate on hand for any desire for desserts or anything like that I had. And having one piece really did me clean. Like, I didn't need to eat a lot of it to feel good. Like, I just had one piece and I was feeling satisfied. So that was cool. So mainly overall, I ate fruits, I ate nuts, I ate brown rice, I ate veggies, and I had soup. Okay, so as an overall. So here are my top tips to help you make it through your 7 days successfully when you're transitioning your food plan. Okay, take it one day at a time. Take it one moment at a time, literally. Observe your urges and talk to them. Talk to your urges to see what's going on. Are you upset about something? Or are you feeling restless? Maybe you didn't sleep well that night. Like, where is that urge coming from, right? Instead of just giving into the urge, which we usually do, talk to it, pay attention to it, and just get to know it more. See where it's coming from. This whole process of getting to know yourself really makes a big difference. Okay. Next thing, you want to drink more water. Always water. Oh my gosh. You may have heard this before, but like many times we're actually not hungry. We're actually thirsty. We're thirsty. So swapping and having water, just drink more water. If you're feeling really hungry and crazy, drink more water first and then jump into whatever else you're going to do next. Do your best, make your goals, and anytime you feel like falling off track, like remind yourself of your goals and why you started this in the first place. For me, I don't want to feel bloated. I don't want to feel lethargic. I want to feel energetic. I want to have mental clarity and I want to dance. I recently got certified as a Bali X dance fitness instructor and I really have no stamina or energy to teach a whole class yet. It's something that I'm going to work on and build up. But I know this goal can easily fly by the sides and not really get the attention that I want to give it. So you have to kind of remember your goals when you really want to fall off track. And there were many days I was like, just eat bread. It's okay. Just today. But I didn't give into it. But I did work through it, process it, talk through it, all that kind of stuff. Check your sanity. Like, am I going to completely lose my sanity if I do this? Why don't I just do this instead? And this will help, You want to make sure you have a support group, have a friend, And the other thing is when you're shifting your food and all this stuff, a lot of people have a lot of opinions. So I recommend don't listen to these people. Just cut them out. A lot of people don't know what the hell they're talking about, first of all. And everybody has their own theories and perspectives about health. So focus on who you want to listen to. If you have a certain coach or mentor that you want to listen to, just listen to that and listen to your body most importantly. Listen to what your body is saying and what your body is telling you more than what anyone else is telling you. Because I'm telling you, as I've been going on this journey, everybody has loved to tell me their opinions and their thoughts about what I should be doing, how I should be doing it, and whatever. And I've literally just had to learn to cut that noise out. Because you don't know what's best for me. Only my body, my intuition, and who my intuition guides me to as my coach knows what's best for me. So I'm not going to listen to what everyone else has to say. And this takes work because being someone who's been a people pleaser and I'm still working through it, I have wanted to listen to people's opinions. I have wanted to hear what people had to say. And, if I wasn't doing what, someone thought was a good idea or they thought like I'm doing something stupid, that I would give into that. You know what I mean? And it's really important to stay strong in yourself and like not get caught up in all that noise. So I think that has been super helpful. So I'm really moving into talking a lot about leadership. I'm talking about my health journey because it's really been how I've become the leader of my own life. And I'm really passionate about teaching women to really step into and embody their own leader. So you'll see me talking about, living a more bold life and dreaming bigger, because it's really what I truly believe in my core is really going to help catapult you into the life that you're meant to live, that your soul is meant to experience on this earth. And I see a lot of people playing small and living smaller lives than they're meant to live. Like they just have this huge light to them, but they're just playing small because they're just not able to really step into that, have that courage and dream bigger. And no one has ever challenged them to think more for themselves, or maybe you just haven't thought you're good enough, you know? So I invite you guys to come sign up for my emails and my videos over here at aditticreative.com/live bold. If you can read it in the blue. Can you guys see it? There you go. With the white. So aditticreative.com/live bold. I am going to be continuing to talk a lot about how you can live bold and how you can really step into, I'll move my hair so you guys can read it. Really step into becoming the leader of your life. And I'm excited to help a bunch of you guys on your journey by being the example myself first. All right. So hope you guys are enjoying these videos. Would love if you left a comment. If you're seeing this on YouTube, subscribe to my channel if you want to get more like this. And I'll see you guys soon.